mentioned, you asked about, you mentioned that to ask a witness about salvation, what would they do? How do they get salvation? But now, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you believe in predestination or Calvinism? That it's decided by God.
Don't hear in Calvinism. Calvinism and Arminian, those are human concepts.
Yeah,
predestination is biblical. Calvinism and Arminianism are human doctrines that are both right and wrong, but they're completely mixed up. So don't mix the two.
Yeah.
But predestination, it says we were chosen before the founding of the world, and that says that clearly in the Bible, that there's those that are of the bride of Christ. The only ones who are going to receive salvation, but we are the only ones of the bride of Christ. We are born again, and we were predestined before the founding of the world. You're right. I believe in that because of the Bible.
Yeah.
If your belief that is true, then there's nothing I can do for salvation. It's already been decided. So it's
no, you're wrong.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. You can accept Jesus, and then you'll be saved. You may not be of the bride, but you'll be saved. Even if a person wasn't chosen, if they accept Christ, they're of the bride. They're going to receive eternal life. That's what Jesus said. He said, "Whosoever believes in me, I will give eternal life." So they may not be of the bride, but they'll get eternal life. Eternal life in spiritual life, going to be beautiful. So no. Everybody who chooses Christ now will get eternal life. They may or may not be of the bride.
Then where do you go?
Only the bride was predestined and chosen before the founding of the world. Okay? So in this world, there's millions of Christians who are predestined to be the bride. There's many other Christians who believe in Jesus who will be saved.
See, I always thought that...
I found something for
thought that if you weren't of this bride class, if you weren't of the chosen, then that meant you went to hell.
No, it means you'll be judged by God, and if you believed in Jesus, you'll be saved. See, there's two outcomes to the judgment.
Right. See, I listen. Well, like I was listening to the. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, Way of the Master, with Kurt Cameron. They'll go out and preach on the streets and whatnot.
Kurt Cameron's a nice kid. He's a good guy, but I don't know
say
where
that
he is theologically.
You have one chance, and if you don't accept Jesus Christ now before you die, then you're going to go spend eternity in hell.
Well, it's not right. How can he judge that? Because there is a judgment.
I don't agree with him, obviously. But
if you don't accept Jesus now, you will have to stand before the judgment throne, the white throne of judgment, no question. But that's all you can say about it. You can't send anybody to hell. Nobody's ever gone to hell yet. The first two to go to hell are the Antichrist and the false prophet. Nobody's in hell yet.
I'm worried. This hell thing. I get a little concerned now. If I go there, do I? This is another thing. It's eternal. It's hot. Do you ever get a reprieve? Like you
hot
get to take a
Hot
rest?
is a metaphor. Hot is a metaphor. You're.
Fire and worms are metaphors, but I tell you, Mike. Here's the thing. Right now, if the people that have died for 6,000 years and didn't know Jesus, didn't know anything about him, never heard of him, they went to wait in Hades or Sheol. It's a temporary holding place. It's temporary.
Okay, so hell's not hot then.
Well,
so if hell's not hot, then maybe.
But wait just a minute. He just says he speaks of it as eternal fire. In other words, it implies that it's uncomfortable, and it could be hot. Yeah, but you can't have fire and worms. So those, like Wendy said, those are metaphors. You can't have fire and worms. And what do fire and worms do to spiritual people? To spirits, souls, nothing.
I agree with you.
Not a physical place.
You guys,
it's real. I mean, I even got that. I got a book by that he's dead now. I'm sure you heard of that TV preacher or radio preacher. J. Vernon McGee, the Bible buff. I got one of his. And he said it's He said it's real. It's hot. It's real fire.
It's real, but we don't know what it's like. There's nothing in the Bible that describes it other than it's not a nice place to be. We get that idea. The fire and the worms are not literal, but it's called the lake of fire. It could be hot.
Well, haven't you ever heard of that sermon?
Let me explain something to you, Mike. Only people that belong there are going to be there, okay? But if you just keep the door of possibility open that Jesus did come and suffer and die for you and me.
Right.
Just keep that open and don't reject it.
Well, I believe that.
And you believe that, okay? Believe that God will save you. That's all he said. He never said anything about anything else other than believe in me and I will give you eternal life. He said it 20 times in the book of John alone. So Jesus is not a liar. If you believe in him, then believe in him and say thank you. And let it go at that. Go ahead.